You're listening to an encore presentation of Live Talk with Wade Sorochan. Highlights of previous shows featuring special guests and open line discussions. Since this is a pre-recorded presentation, please do not call. And now, Live Talk with Wade Sorochan on AM 930, The Light.
And welcome back to the program. Well, in less than a week, the kids will be back in school. The household will be a little busier than it has been over the past couple months. And maybe you need some advice as to how you're going to do it all. You know, get the kids off, have the meals on the table, everyone together, eating and doing all this kind of stuff when everyone's going in different directions again. Well, Sandy Richard is considered by many to be North America's leading meal planning expert. She's the author of 5 best-selling meal planning books in the series Cooking for the Rushed, a company she owns with her husband, Ron. Sandy speaks to thousands of people across North America about modern-day meal planning strategies to get families back to the dinner table to create more balance in their lives. She researches, writes, and hosts her own award-winning Food Network series called Fixing Dinner and is currently in production of her new Food Network show. She's been a featured guest on the Food Network USA and a repeat guest on the Today Show. She is a wife and mother of 7 children. Talk about a busy household, and lives in Cochrane, Alberta, and joins me on the phone line right now. Sandy, welcome to the program.
Okay, I like you already. You make me look really good.
Well, you know. Well, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you on here. Now, tell us, first of all, I mean, when I read mother of 7 children, I think a busy household. Am I right?
Well, it used to be a busy household. My baby is 20.
Oh, okay. So it's not like you're not like John and Kate and 8 or whatever that show is or whatever. You don't have all these kids running around the house. Okay.
I'm a grandma.
Okay. So it was busy at one time, though.
It was extremely busy at one time, and that's really how the whole thing began.
Yeah. So tell us how it all began. Why you decided to do this series, Cooking for the Rushed.
It really was one of those things, and I always tell people, sometimes you're just in a story and you don't know it. Mm-hmm. And that was my life. I mean, I was just going out of my mind. I laughed and called myself the chicken finger queen. Some women could relate to that. Some women would snicker at that. And it was just one of those things where I just knew that there had to be an easier way to get dinner on the table, and I was failing drastically.
So you were looking for something easier than chicken fingers?
I was looking, well, it wasn't that so much. I mean, my body was changing. I knew I was gaining weight.
Yeah.
I knew that this was not the solution for me and for the kids, but so what do? You want to have food that the kids are going to actually eat, and you want to have food that's healthy for your body, and then it's got to taste good so that everyone actually will eat it.
Yep.
And so it was just a real dilemma for me, and I just kept making excuses and, getting Dougie off to hockey, and off he would go to McDonald's, but we'll eat a salad later.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was one of those things. And just gradually, actually, the whole thing turned around when I read an article that a male psychologist had written about how North Americans are a little bit crazy when it comes to eating, and that dinner time is the most stressful part of a person's day. And it literally, after reading that article 26 years ago now, mm-hmm. It literally turned my eating life around. And then everybody I knew said, somebody told me you have a 20-minute stew and you've got this really cool meal planning thing.
Yep.
And that's how it all started.
Wow. I mean, yeah, obviously, time is always of the essence in a busy household. And like you said, you're taking Johnny off to skating lessons. You're taking wherever to boxing. Whatever the case is, you hardly have time. And I've had experts on this program who wrote books about how to, encourage the family to have at least a few meals a week together. Mm-hmm. So nobody has time to sit together at the dinner table. So what you're doing is helping in that, because that will be the result, right? If you can, take that stress off, create a good, nutritious meal in a short time, right. It's going to be good to eat. People are going to want to eat it, and they're going to be at the table together eating it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And we have to make sure, too, that we have to be very careful. And one of the big mistakes I made so many years ago was I was always looking for quick and easy. I was always looking for the recipes that I could complete in 15 minutes.
Yep.
And we have to be careful with that, because you know what? When you are getting, Johnny to hockey, and you're getting so-and-so to dancing and piano, and all this stuff is going on, sometimes you need to either do a 5-minute prep the night before, and literally 5 minutes. I say, parents, do not stress out. Just get a 5-minute task off your back, because that'll take so much off your mind, and that's really what we need to do. We have to take this off the parents' minds.
So it doesn't come up at the last minute where all of a sudden everyone's coming home in a half an hour and you're you're freaking out as to what you're going to serve, right? Okay, so tell us about that 5-minute prep. That's all it takes is 5 minutes the night before and you're ready to go the next day?
And in some cases, that's what's appropriate. So in some cases, and I hear this all the time, Wade, I cannot tell you on the show, over the years with the books, how many parents say, well, I feel so guilty getting my kids to help me make dinner. And I will say to them, oh my goodness, it is a legacy you are leaving them. If they know something different than eating out of a box, it's a legacy. So if you do a little 5-minute prep the night before, let's say brown, the hamburger for some kind of sauce, or you're browning the ground chicken, or you're sautéing the chicken breasts, and you're maybe cutting the onions, something that you might be worried about them doing when you're not there. Do you know how powerful kids feel when they can now assemble something, and then mom comes home, guess what she is? She's a very happy camper.
Sure.
She's got a big smile on her face. She's feeling like half the stress is off her back. Not only that, then the parents, of course, are going to give all this praise to the kids. Their self-esteem increases. We see this in study after study.
And don't the kids all of a sudden appreciate the meal even more because they had a hand in preparing it?
Oh, my goodness, you must be a parent. I'm telling you, this is it. When you have kids putting ingredients into their own specialty dish that everyone is raving about, you have got someone buying into that meal. And what happens is you start encouraging them through that to try different vegetables or try different things that they normally would turn their nose up at. Unbelievable.
Yep.
It is literally changed. It will change the family's outlook on dinner. But that doesn't always work. I mean, sometimes people are coming home and they've got little tiny ones.
Yep.
Right? So that's not going to work in that case.
Mm-hmm.
So what they've got to do is they've got to plan meals where, well, first of all, meal planning is number one, but we can get into that in a sec.
Okay.
But they have to make sure that they're not always looking for I walk in the door, I prep it, I eat it, and I go.
Right.
Because that's not always appropriate for your life.
Yep. You might as well just put another window on your house and have a drive-through.
There you go. Sometimes you're going to have to come in the door, say, hey, I'm going to set a boundary for about 15 minutes, I'm going to prep something up, and then I'm all yours. And it could be doing its thing in the oven while you're enjoying saying hello, getting into your jeans, and so on.
Yep.
So we have to look at dinner as, what is the kind of meal that is appropriate for a given night? And when we always are trying to prep, eat, and go, it's just no fun.
No. Okay, well,
like a chore.
Sure. Well, we're talking with Sandy Richard, North America's leading meal planning expert and author of the best-selling meal planning books, Cooking for the Rushed. The Dinner Fix is the fourth and latest contribution to the cooking series. And I want to open up the phone lines. Maybe you have some successes you want to share with Sandy, or maybe you're looking for some advice. You've kind of hit that wall and said, I'm stuck in this rut. I can't get away from, feeling rushed all the time. I'm not putting nutritious meals on the table. How can I do this in a short time? Because we have very little time. We all know we have very little time. Mm-hmm. So we have some great advice for you right now from an expert at 780-430-9300 locally. Out of town, it is 1-877-827-2346. We'll accept your calls, and we'll talk about the Dinner Fix and how these books are just so easy to follow. They have little clocks at the top. We'll talk about what that means and some great recipes and how to help you in your busy household. So let's talk about how the books work. Sandy, you've got the Dinner Fix now. It's your fourth in this. So walk us through all these. It's really cool. I'm just looking through the book right now, and everything's color coded. You got clocks and all these colors. So what does it all mean as you go through your books?
Well, when I first started and realized that I didn't, need, prep, eat, go, and get out of the house all the time, I had this little marker, and so I've transferred that into these little clocks, these colored clocks. Mm-hmm. And simply what they mean is this: if it's a red or yellow dish, it means you're eating and can be out of the house within 20 minutes. So if you've got a green or a blue dish, it's one of those ones I was talking about where you're prepping it.
Yep.
You get to spend time with people while it's kind of doing its thing, and then you're able to enjoy eating it within an hour.
Right.
And so they just kind of, the reason I did them in color codes was because I wanted it to be so clear that when people looked at that, and it is quite funny when people email us, because they'll say, I love the blue and the green ones almost as much as I love the red and the yellow ones. So they actually talk about the recipes like they're colors.
Sure. Okay.
And it's just again, we're so stressed out. So just to make something real easy for people to visually be able to go and, okay, this is one of those nights where I need to go walk the dog, or I need to get the kid to hockey, or I need to take somebody somewhere, or I just want to relax with my child. I need a green or a blue. And it's neat. They can look at that the night before and take the stuff out.
Sure. Okay, so tell us about the meals. Where did you come up with these ideas? Did you test them on families?
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. We put out 160 servings a week for almost 5 years. And the reason we did that was because we wanted to know what families really were going to eat in the work week. We wanted... we wanted a different kind of feedback than what you were going to get from, a book, other books, which I love and purchase and all that. Mm-hmm. But we wanted something different. We wanted all dinners, and we wanted feedback about, what is it that you are going to eat that your child is also going to eat. And so 160 servings a week. We thought it was going to take us a year. It took us almost 5 years.
Wow.
We were embarrassed. By the third year, I'm kind of covering my head at the soccer games, because people go, oh, I thought you were doing a book.
You should never tell people you're writing a book until it's on the shelf.
And so, we had a very strict criteria. We wanted to know, what were the textures people would eat, what were the flavors, how far could we go with ethnic cooking. Could it be really authentic, or did it have to be North Americanized? How hot, how spicy. It was very, very interesting, and it certainly surprised us. At the end of the first year, I was quite discouraged because I thought I was going to have more data than I did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it worked out. Because
sure.
When you do your homework, of course, the whole thing is to help people. I mean, that's why people do this.
Sure, and you're also helping throughout the book too with a lot of nutritional data.
Hey, and I'm glad you brought that up because again, that was another frustration as an adult for me. You're making a meal, and they'll say it's got 10 grams of fat, and so I'll think, oh, good, that's nice. It's under 15 grams of fat, great. But then it doesn't include the rice, because that's in another section of the book.
Right.
And then it doesn't include the vegetables. So I swore that when I did this, it was going to be a left-to-right format where you weren't searching all over the place to match up, your instruction with the ingredients. And B, I wanted to make sure that nutritional data was for the whole meal. So people didn't have to go running around and searching. So that was very important to me.
And not only, you're helping out the Rush household with nutritional meals, but obviously there's a big concern North America wide right now from obesity.
Sure.
And the kids are just not getting exercise, and we're getting bigger. Sure. So obviously this is part of that puzzle as far as trying to turn that around and let's get back to eating healthy, getting exercise, and just becoming a healthy generation, because it's putting a lot of stress on our healthcare system.
Absolutely. And just, here's the thing, Wade, and I'm sure you can attest, because you talk to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. People just don't know where to start.
Right.
The dinner problem is in our minds. It's because we're so overwhelmed with so many long lists of to-dos. And so if we can help people with these small little skills where they get it that, hey, this does not have to be on my mind. I can take this off my mind. This is going to be simple. We're going to get people not only being able to go out for a walk, or, also we're going to see families not trading their health for time. And that is what they're doing when they go to the drive-thru. It's a love decision.
Yep.
It's a decision that they're making based on loving their family. And they know it's not the right thing to do, but they don't know what else to do, because they're trading in their health so that they can have a little bit of time.
And it's a multi-million-dollar business, these prepared meals, these heat and serve meals.
Right.
You throw in the microwave, you throw in the oven or whatever, ready in 5 minutes. It is addressing that problem that's out there. And, what you're doing in your book is obviously different. You're trying to, counteract, that kind of mentality that just grab this thing and put it in the microwave in 5 minutes, you got a meal.
Yeah. And here's the problem with that. I went and did this seminar in Ontario. We were working with a bunch of young teens, some preteens and teens, and they were all disgusted by the chicken we were using in the recipe. And do you know that everyone, with the exception of 2 out of a group of 30, had ever touched meat? So that's the problem with these things. And it's certainly not that some of these food companies don't have, the right idea where they're trying to at least keep calorie counts down and so on.
Sure.
The problem is that we've got a generation of children who have no idea how to take care of themselves.
And that's scary when these children get out on their own. How are they going to feed themselves?
Oh, my goodness. And we see this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We see young vegetarian girls who are so overweight. And they're shocked because they want to be like their famous celebrity, people where, that person's a vegetarian.
Yeah.
Yes, that person's a vegetarian, but they don't eat bread and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
They eat vegetables.
Yeah, exactly. It's so important. It all starts, in the home when you're younger. And again, it comes down to, taking the time, finding the time. And you know what? People say, I just don't have time. I mean, you're helping with your books and your whole series of Cooking for the Rush to allow people to have that time to put a nutritious meal on the table. But the kids, they will benefit from that. And when they get out on their own, all of a sudden they will, look at food differently and say, you know what? I want to take that little extra time and feel good about what I'm putting in my body.
Right. And I will tell you this, and this may sound odd for an author to say this, but I'm going to say it just because, you're very gracious and, in saying that the books are great. And of course I think they're great. We put a lot of time into them. However, for parents immediately, just to take this burden off their chest, try a few little things, okay? Just a few little tips with some of the recipes you already have. If you've got a lazy lasagna, try just browning the chicken or the hamburger the night before, cutting up your onion or celery or whatever else you put in it, and try this on in these first weeks of school. Try this on. Take out all the ingredients other than the stuff that has to stay in the fridge, and say to your 10 to 12-year-old, there's nothing to cut and there's nothing to cook. The recipe is laying out for you. It would be really cool if you put this together for Mom. Watch what happens.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine. Now, in the book, you also, plan out meals for the week. That, again, taking that pressure off, the day-to-day pressure, you plan it out and you're set for a week. That's obviously got to be a real good thing for families.
It is, and you grocery list, and I'm kind of glad you brought that up too. And again, I'll be a weird author and say, even with the recipes you have at home. Okay,
you're not selling many books here, Sandy.
No, you know what? I've got a good shtick going on here.
Okay,
I'm doing good.
Sure.
But you know what? People love the books. But here's the thing: if again, it's a bad economy right now. If you're able to get the books, it's great. It's really going to help you. But if you're not, go to the website. If that's okay, if I can tell you this,
oh, of course,
a little free sheet that you can get.
Oh, we like free.
So you go to cookingfortherushed.com, and that's rushed with an ed.com, and on the grocery list, because anyone who uses our books knows you just go to our website and you print grocery lists. Okay, you can print them out. And then there's a blank one on there. And what you're going to see on that top left-hand corner are 5 lines, 5 blank lines and a blank grocery list. I want you to print it out. I want you to put it in a central location. And what I want you to do for the next 2 weeks, because we're a fix it today, screw it up tomorrow nation, let's not do that. For the next 2 weeks, just keep, asking your family, hey, what would you like if you were to fill in one of those lines? What kind of meal would you like? Well, I'd like Grandma's tuna casserole. Write in Grandma's tuna casserole. Believe it or not, those 5 lines will change the way the cook feels about cooking for a whole week. Okay, then what I want them to do is read the meal planning steps of modern-day meal planning on the website and do a modern-day meal plan. That means they'll never have to do that meal plan again, ever again. They can reuse it, and every time they create a new one, I say the average diet lasts about 3 weeks.
Yep.
So if you can hang in and do this 3 times for 3 weeks, put it in a little do-a-tang near your cookbooks.
Yep.
You've got 3 weeks of a rotation of meals that you know your family picked.
All right, that's at cookingfortherushed.com. That's your website. And, of course, your book, I'm assuming, is available everywhere. Where's the best place for people to get your Cooking for the Rushed books and your latest one, The Dinner Fix?
You can get Dinner Survival, The Dinner Fix, and the other books as well in most stores, Chapters, Superstore, and even sometimes Costco.
All right, Sandy, it's it's been a pleasure. Thank you for all this great advice as parents are looking forward to getting the kids, well, maybe not, who knows, getting the kids back to school next week. Some helpful advice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That is Sandy Richard, North America's leading meal planning expert and author of the best-selling meal planning books, Cooking for the Rushed. Go to her website, cookingfortherushed.com. I'm Wade Sorochan. The program is Life Talk. More in a moment.